Hey guys, it's Kip from Famous by Friday Pickleball. Got a brand new paddle to review, the crbn2. crbn makes two paddles primarily. They make the crbn1 and crbn2. The crbn1 is a little more elongated version. It's more along the lines of the Selkirk Invicta. So we are going to review the crbn2s because it fits my game a little bit more. It's the more traditional size paddle, what I'm used to hitting. So that's the one we're going to review. There are two versions of this, however. There's the 16 millimeter version and a 13 millimeter version. The 13 millimeter is supposed to provide a little more power. We'll see. We'll get out there and see what these are like. There are honeycomb propylene cores. They have this carbon face, which you can hear is really textured. I believe they call it it's a proprietary T700 carbon face that their website says is supposed to produce an insane amount of spin. We'll see. Also, it's supposed to have a really large sweet spot. We'll get out there and kind of test that out as well and see if we like it. Very excited to get out and hit these. A friend of mine actually bought one of these crbn2, the 16 millimeter version. I have hit with it for about 5 minutes already. I really liked his, but it was a very abbreviated test as I didn't get a lot of time with it. But very excited to get out and hit both of these today. We're headed through the courts right now. I hope you are as well. Have a great day. We'll be right back.
That was a great shot. I purposely tried to land it right in that corner. It was not going to be out. That was a beautiful shot.
Check the film. Check the film.
You have to give that to me.
Okay. Oh. Nice. Good ball. Okay.
Hey guys, just got back from a couple of weeks of playing with these crbn2 square paddles. Played with the 13 millimeter version and the 16 millimeter version. There's a lot to go through because these are very different paddles. I mean, granted, the 13 millimeter it's made for power. The 16 millimeter is made for more control, consistency, forgiveness. And they both played very different. And they both lived up to the aspects and their names. I'll start off with the 16 millimeter version. It is the paddle that not only Adrian gravitated toward, I gravitated toward to a certain extent. In my clinics, most of the players that played with both of these paddles tended to gravitate toward the 16 millimeter version, and I believe this is sold out right now, the 16 millimeter version. It's a very good paddle. It does a lot of things really well. It is very forgiving. It is very consistent. The accuracy's there. The sweet spot is really large across the face. It's a very solid feeling paddle. You really, you feel the ball come off, and it's a heavy ball that you hit. However, it is not a powerful ball that you hit. You can hit your spots. You can spin it. It does have spin. I believe on the website it said something like an insane amount of spin. It's not that much spin, but there is spin and there is control. Dinking's very, very easy from both sides, whether you backspin, topspin, or just push dink. Anything you try and do is there. However, the depth really isn't there because it really lacks a little bit of power. The major complaint I heard with the 16 millimeter version, and I agree, is the handle is very large and very bulky. Now, is that a terrible thing? No, because the larger the handle, the less wristy you're going to be with the ball. You're going to use your larger muscles more. And so I think that feeds into the control aspect a little bit, where you're not so wild with it. It's a fun paddle to hit. And some of the players that I saw hitting, I mean, the ball, even though you're not hitting it hard, really has a lot of movement to it, especially on serves. You may not have great depth, but the ball's moving a little bit. So that's kind of a cool aspect. And really, once again, that's the only true complaint is the handle size, and it's just the lack of depth. Everything else is there. The feedback is great. You know exactly where you've hit it. You feel like this paddle weighed in at 7.9 ounces, but it felt very stable. Even if you caught a ball out here at the sides, it was very stable and didn't turn, and it was just very solid. It's a very solid paddle. Now, the 13 millimeter version. It's the power version of the paddles. It does everything differently. It's still accurate. I felt like when serving with this paddle, I could really hit my spots. And that'll show up in the video. We kind of did a few things different in the video this time. But you really could hit your spots. You could, no matter what you're doing, it gets through the air quicker. Now, it's a 7.6 ounce, I believe. I'm sorry, 7.7 ounce. I want to get that right. So it's lighter, but I felt like you could get this through the air quicker. Another reason you can get it through the air quicker, the handle is much smaller than the 16 millimeter version, and I hope that shows up on camera. You really could get this through the zone quick. Part of that's that smaller handle. You really could, and it's thinner and it's lighter, but you could get it through the zone quicker. But it didn't have the mass, and it didn't have, where I said about the 16, when you got a ball out here, you really felt like you could still push it over. The thinner version is not that way. If you get it anywhere outside the sweet spot, it is a harsh sound. It goes absolutely nowhere. But if you hit it in the middle, if you hit it in the sweet spot, this ball is going to go wherever you want it to. And it's got nice depth. Serving's a lot of fun with it because of the depth. Now go back to spin. You actually got more spin with the 16 millimeter version. You would think that the thinner version, it would grab it more and throw it more, and the how long the ball stayed on the paddle, the dwell time would be longer with the thinner. It was not. It just really instantly bounced off here. You didn't have the spin at all that you have with the 16 millimeter version. I had some people that tested this gravitate toward this because the depth was there. You didn't have to work as hard up the net. You didn't have to work as hard in the transition zone because the ball would go a little bit further. I tended to kind of pick this one up more often because I didn't have the depth with the 16 millimeter version. They're very different paddles. I think the 16 millimeter version is going to appeal to most people. Just because it's more forgiving, it's got more variety, and if you hit this one anywhere off the sweet spot, it's game over. It's the ball's not going anywhere. We did something also a little bit different this time in the video, and I thought this was fun. We got a radar gun to see kind of the speed. We always talk about, what kind of speed. Some paddles are more powerful. So we wanted to kind of test that out. And so my normal serve time or serve speed is 45 miles an hour. Adrian's is 41. It's fine. We don't really care about speed necessarily, but it's just a way to test speed. We're more worried about depth and control and hitting your spots. But mine's normally 45, hers is normally 41 with the paddles we use. We found with the 13 millimeter version, we were both up at least 1 mile an hour, and I'll post these numbers online. But with the 13, you could jump on this and still keep it in and control it. You could really, with the 13 millimeter version, you could really hit the ball, and it is the power version, so that makes sense. The 13 millimeter version, we were both significantly under our serve speed. Once again, this paddle does not have a lot of pop. It does not have a lot of power. It is and it wasn't designed to. They had their power paddle. This was designed for more forgiveness, more playability. It does a lot of things well, but it doesn't have that speed. It really doesn't have it's not a power paddle. However, once again, and I don't know if this shows up on the video, I hope it does. This had movement. Even though you were hitting it kind of shorter and you had to kind of work harder to get the ball over, it moved a little bit. And that's possibly more important than the speed on serves, especially if you hit kind of a little rolling serve or if you cut it. So that was kind of a fun thing to do and kind of a fun thing to see. And they both live up to their names. Now, they do a lot of things well. Will either one end up in my bag? No. However, the 16 I think would come closer to ending up my bag than the 13. And I know I just said there's more speed, there's more, you can hit it, if you hit it in the sweet spot, you could really control it. I think this is going to appeal to more people. I think if I look down and I took the wrong bag or something to a tournament or to rec play or whatever, and the 16 was in there, I would feel comfortable hitting it the whole time and feel like I could play well. So, whereas if I looked in there and saw the 13, I think, oh, I got to make sure I hit every ball in the sweet spot, and I've really got to watch the occasional ball that shoots out. So, they're both really good paddles. I know this company is kind of a startup company, and the gentleman that came up with this paddle is a pickleball player, and if you go to his website, you'll see that he's a pickleball player and wanted to design his own paddle. He's done a great job. Very cool product. I have two friends that are playing currently with this 16 millimeter version. it's a good paddle. Very solid. There's nothing weak about it at all, and I like the textured surface. The only thing I wish it came in different size handles, honestly, and I don't believe they do it at this time. They may soon. The handle's a little big. Now can you always trim it down, of course. So, guys, they're cool paddles. Try them. I think you'll like them. Once again, I think the 16 is going to appeal to more people. So, guys, thank you for stopping by. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Thanks for stopping by. Get out there and play pickleball. It is a fun sport, a fun game. I'm headed there tonight, so hope to see you there. Bye, guys. I was aiming for the camera.